Hi my dear readers, this is Simona Rich. In this video I will read out the draft of my post about death that I wrote yesterday. And for me, talking about death is not depressing because I know I'm not the body, but I know that some people find these thoughts discouraging, just the whole topic of death. But just know that it's the ego, it's not you, that finds it depressing or scary. So here's the article. My father died a few days ago. I didn't sense the time of his death, and there was nothing that happened after. I have no connection to this man because he left our family early. So for me, this proves that just because I have his genetic material, that doesn't mean anything. True father is the one who stays with children and brings them up well, who cares for them and supports them. So this is the true father, whether it's biological father or not. But if anyone can just make someone pregnant unless they are infertile, but that's not a big accomplishment. He died in a hospital, and this made me think how I would like to die. I would like to die in nature, and whilst the soul stays close to the body, I don't want anyone to move the body or do anything to the body. For me, dying in hospital, I mean, I have no idea how I would die, but dying in hospital is not something I would like. But dying in nature is something that is natural, and I just feel happiness when I think about it. And once the soul gets disconnected from the body, which can happen after a few days usually, then it doesn't really matter what happens to the body. But ideally, I would like my body to be cremated rather than buried in a box. This is just for me. I don't like closed places, so I also don't want my body to be closed. But actually, when the soul leaves the body, it doesn't really matter, but I just don't like that tradition. And the same goes with my mom. She also prefers her body to be cremated. But ideally, it would be great if the body experiences natural disintegration, even if wild animals dispose of it, because that's natural. That's how this world works, and this is nature. I know this is very different to how most people would prefer to their bodies to die, but because I know I'm not the body, then I don't see it in the same way. Because it's so interesting when people really want many relatives and friends to come to the funeral, but actually it's just body, it's not them. So they treat it like they actually died, and so it would be hurt to their pride if few people would turn up. But for me, it doesn't matter. This is not you. So I see it in a totally different way to most people. I do believe, however, that unless the body dies in some catastrophic way, the soul will be attached to the body up to a few days. And if at that time the body is cut up to take organs from it or something like this, I do believe that you feel everything. So I'm actually not in favor of organ transplant, though that's the subject that many people feel strongly about. But it's actually the ego that wants to always protect the body, extend its life, when actually its life is coming to a close and its usefulness is finishing. But the ego is so afraid because it will die. That's why these things are invented. But the body is just a tool to be used, hopefully according to divine guidance, and then it will die once its time is up. And I see that when you allow divine to use your body, then you are no longer afraid of death, and you can accept natural disintegration rather than fight it with all your energy. I'm very happy to find that as my youth is passing, my attachment to the body keeps lessening. This is, for me, I could even cry about it. For me, this is such a relief, because I see so many people who are so attached to their youth that passing years become an obsession to do everything they can to preserve it. But that's just so sad. You are on that, such a low level of just looking after, doing everything to keep the body young, rather than being used by universe to accomplish something useful, something good for humanity. And of course the society, the current trends of the society is to blame for it, which worships youth. And if the attachment remains to the youth when the body is getting older and older, days will progressively be more and more depressing. And this doesn't have to be, because actually once the body reaches the peak of its strength and then starts diminishing, the attachment to the body also can start diminishing if you allow this, because there are two paths. Either you accept natural declination of the energy. The other path is not to accept it and do everything you can to keep it young. These are very different paths, and the one leads to happiness and more wisdom and learning, and also being so much more focused on the spirit than on the body, and another leads just to lack of growth and total attachment to the physical part of life. The fears of the ego stop people from living their full lives. I see that all the time. Most people live in misery and spend their beautiful young years doing some stupid job. Why? Because they're attached to the ego. They think themselves to be egos. So the ego is fearful. It always is focused on survival, and it just makes fear-based decisions. And so the life is spent in vain. How many people spend their best years doing meaningless jobs? If only they knew that everything would work out just fine if they would stop listening to the fearful ego and would place their trust in God. They don't have to slave for anyone. Everything will just work out. Your body cannot die as long as the divine wants to use it. So just relax, you will be fed. Even if you don't have a job, you will not just starve. God will take care of you, like it was told in the Bible. I'm not a Christian, but that was true what it was told, that God takes care even of birds, let alone human beings. Birds don't need to worry about when they will get their next meal. It just, they come across it. So the same with people. Because people are identified with their egos, it's totally fearful and survival based. So people can spend all their lives doing meaningless job just to get a paycheck. What kind of life is that? For me, it's better for life to be short but meaningful than long and you are living as though you're dead already. I lived the young years of my life exactly as I wanted. So now I have no regrets, only satisfaction. I always listened to my heart rather than fearful mind, because I knew that if I would listen to the fearful mind, I would regret later in life. And that's true. Now I have no regrets. I have only beautiful memories to look at. And it's so true that from around the age of leaving school till around the age of 30, so maybe 12 years, these are the best years of your life because you have most energy, and that's the time where you should focus on doing all that you love and also establishing yourself in the world, because then you're laying a good foundation. This is the most energy that you will ever have. So spend it on doing what you always wanted to do, be that traveling, having any kind of experiences. But then also try to establish yourself in the world, because you have a lot of energy and inspiration. So through that exploration of life, learn what you're good at, what you want to do in life, and start doing it. That's what I did. And now I established my own business where even if Google tries to hide my website from search results, fewer and fewer people find me on Google. But because customers think that I provide good service, they recommend me, and I still have clients even though Google may blacklist me or something like that. But this didn't come in a year or two. I was consistently trying to provide good service, and now the business has life of its own and it supports me. And again, I laid the foundation at the age of around 21, and then I just continued from then on. And though I never had a stable job, I worked for myself now for many years, and I guess around 12 years, and everything worked out, maybe even 13 years, because I just trusted that God will help me, and I knew that I have to do what my heart wants to for me to feel happy. This is life. I wouldn't trust a fearful mind to, do something to assure security, because that's not life. For me, that seems like death. And what's the point then of having this life and not using its opportunities? I would like here to mention the lady I wrote about in my last post. Peace Pilgrim left her home as her hair turned gray to wander the world with a message of peace. She wandered without home for 28 years, and nothing happened to her. Actually, the way she died wasn't connected even to her wandering days at all, because with time she got more and more famous, and then she was just taken by car to different meetings and talks. And one day when she was taken by car somewhere, the car experienced some kind of accident. Maybe there was a car crash, and that's how she died. So it wasn't even connected with her losing her security when wandering, something terrible happened to her when she's alone walking. Nothing like that. She walked for 28 years, and she had so many experiences. She changed the lives of so many people. So this alone woman who was whose age was retirement age, left home to just wander USA, and nothing happened to her, and she was one of the happiest beings I've ever seen. There are videos of her. She's so happy and she's full of energy, and she told that my energy is not the energy of youth. My energy is divine energy, because I don't do anything selfishly focused on my survival, earning money to survive and to eat, but I'm focused on betterment of humanity. How amazing is that? And she told that if you focus not on your little needs but on the needs of humanity, you will be given amazing energy. And the same actually A Course in Miracles talks about. So she had no money. She had not even a cent in her pocket. She had no home, and people would provide her shelter, and she didn't even ask for food. People would just come and give her food. How amazing is that? and she would find the strangest places to stay overnight. For example, sometimes she of course would spend time with millionaires even, and then with poor people, and would be given shelter. And sometimes she was walking where there were no people, and then she had to sleep in cardboard boxes, and she was so free that she felt so happy about it. And one day there was a storm. There was an snowstorm, and she was walking without any people anywhere close, and there were no cars anymore, and it was getting colder and colder, and she thought that she would freeze to death. And then heavenly world opened up to her, and she was so happy. She thought that she would transition. She saw her relatives, but relatives showed that she shouldn't go, she shouldn't join them now. And so the vision finished, and then she was guided to the bridge, and under the bridge there was a card box with enough, with enough material to keep her warm. So even she was protected and provided shelter even where there were no people and there was horrible storm. That's the power of trusting God, that you are provided in the most amazing ways. So if a retired woman can wander alone without any money for 28 years and have a rich life, and that is full of adventure, and also she had so much health, she was totally healthy, then what stops you from living your best life? Again, it's identification with the ego. So try to disengage from the fearful mind, because that's not you. That can be done through meditation, mindfulness of any form. And then you can actually use this time of this fear-based time where people are getting vaccinated. You can actually use it to escape the system, and either you trust the system or you trust God. So many people are stuck with the system, thinking that it's like parent taking care of them, giving food and money. Yet we have a much better parent to rely on, which is God. So through mindfulness, through the practice of mindfulness, you will gain enough detachment to disidentify from the mind and then be led by the heart. And then there will be no fears, no looking at the past, no thinking fearfully about the future. You will live in the now, you will enjoy every single day, and then you will be guided. Whenever you need something, you will be provided, and if there's some danger, you will be guided out of it. That's the power of trusting the universe rather than trusting the system. So I hope this inspired you. Thank you for watching. Have a lovely day. Take care.